And for more, let's bring in Middle East analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Thank you so much for being here. He's a distinguished fellow at New York University's Law School. I'm sure you've been following very closely this newly erupted election that we have. Based on the report that Eli Hohenberg just showed, it seems that this union, this unlikely union between Labor and Abekassis, is one that could maybe pose a threat. How do you read the map, and why is this so hard for the other left-wing parties to swallow?
Well, Michelle, it really poses a threat more to the other left-wing parties, and I don't think it poses a threat at all to Netanyahu. This is a good day for him. This once again proves, Michelle, that the right is much more united in Israel than the left, right? Because the left can't keep it together. You just saw in your report, Barak and Labor, Barak and Meretz are saying, hey, what happened to us? I thought we could join up with Labor, and then we could actually have a united left-wing front, and maybe we can attract a center party to help us to balance out and get us over 30. They're not going to do that. And so the fact that they're even further back, and Labor has essentially sold them out for his attempt to find a unity government, but his attempt fails because Gesher is not the party he wanted. He needed Israel Beitenu. He needs Lieberman, not a former colleague of Lieberman.
So how do you read the map right now? What kind of alternative, strong alternative, whether center, right, or left, can be to Netanyahu and his coalition?
I just don't see it, Michelle. I don't see how he could lose. Some of the things that we're now seeing, in fact, in my opinion, guarantee victory for him. First of all, in this new election, he seems in the new polling, although I admit Israeli polling tends to be unreliable, but based on the new
polling... All polling, no?
Definitely Israel.
U.S. polling, I don't know.
Historically, Israel's is unreliable. But from what we understand, there have been gains in Likud. There have been gains in Israel Beitenu. Gantz's blue and white has actually dropped a bit, right? And you're seeing this sort of fractiousness among the left. You're seeing the return of Ayelet Sheked, who, in my opinion, is the person who's the potential kingmaker, queenmaker in this case. But she's not yet affiliated fully yet as well. In fact, that to me would have been the big news, right? The big news would have been Labor joining up with Sheked.
Something that's very unlikely.
Incredibly unlikely,
yes.
But this seemed unlikely too, right? Because remember, Gesher is a right-wing party, and it's an offshoot itself of Israel Beitenu. So the idea is to try, how do you get the left to look more center and moderate? This is what Labor tried to do. I don't think they did it with the right party. And because they didn't with the right party, the other thing that we're learning is that Lieberman is back in the driver's seat again. He's in a better driver's seat than he was before because he has more, it looks from the polls, he's going to pick up a few more seats. So at some point, Lieberman and Netanyahu are going to have to figure out how to form a coalition government unless Sheked can bring
or unless we want another election.
Right, or unless Sheked can bring in her own bloc.
Now, as of tomorrow, Netanyahu will be Israel's longest-standing leader, which we're hearing and seeing all kinds of reactions to today. Some people say he keeps winning because he's an effective leader. Others say because there hasn't been a viable alternative. Other voices will say that all he knows is to stay in power. What is your take, and what is his legacy, very quickly? Well,
I'll try to do it quickly. The fact that he isn't winning by a landslide is extraordinary because he's been incredibly effective. Booming economy. Here's the legacy. Booming economy under his stewardship. Incredible diplomatic relationships with countries that were unimaginable before.
Strong economy.
Russia, India, countries in Africa, right, the booming economy, the startup nation, the science technology advances. His relationship with Trump.
So can he take credit for this?
Yes, I think he should, and I think it would be part of his legacy. And frankly, he also oddly took the Palestinian question off the table, because he's developed all these relationships with other countries without any viable peace agreement or even an attempt to negotiate it. The Palestinians are not in this conversation, yet Israel has advanced during his leadership.
Thane Rosenbaum, thanks so much. We could talk about this for days on end. We will continue to follow. Thank you for your analysis. It'll be a very interesting election.